Good evening and welcome to Special Report. I'm Brett Bear. Today was a historic day over in the United Kingdom where the ongoing feud between Scotland and Great Britain continues. With me here is Nick Corlew, a Scottish civilian. Thank you very much for being here, Nick.
Thank you for having me, Brett.
Alright then, let's jump right in here. This issue had been going on for a while now, so when did the feud between the United Kingdom and Scotland actually start?
The feud began in 1707, when England, Wales, and Scotland were united under the Act of Union. Over time, Ireland was introduced and part of the region left, therefore establishing the Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, which still is in effect today.
Obviously, energy might be the biggest concern here, as it was discovered in the North Sea in 1959. Are there any other issues besides energy that have sparked this conflict? Also, why are energy and oil such a big reason as to why Scotland wants to leave its larger compadre?
Well, energy and oil has been an issue that has sparked up independence for Scotland, and it might be the biggest. By 1971, the first oil was drilled out of the North Sea between the United Kingdom and the Netherlands. This is a big reason because in today's society, oil is a very important resource, and Scotland may crumble without it, because oil, petroleum, and other fossil fuels are non-renewable sources.
A recent article published states that Scotland leaving would affect the lower class the most, and Scotland would lose about €1 billion every single year. How would it affect you, a middle-class Scottish citizen?
Well, by the end of this year, our government will be 1.5 trillion euros, or 1.55 trillion American dollars in debt. If debt was split according to the per capita ration, Scotland would take on 122 billion euros worth of debt the year they secede. The Better Together chairman, Blair McDowell, also believes mortgage payments would increase.
Last June, Britain shocked the world when it announced it would be leaving the European Union. British Prime Minister Theresa May recently said that another vote on the issue will not be for a while, fall 2018 at the earliest. So do you believe there will be another vote as to whether Scotland should leave the United Kingdom? And if yes, what side would you vote on, yes or no?
Well, despite a projected economic crisis by former Prime Minister David Cameron, our economy as a whole improved by 1.8% last year, second only to Germany, at 1.9%. House prices have fallen, but are still looking good. That leaves me to believe that Scotland could handle our economy by itself. Therefore, should another vote be taken place, I would say yes to Scotland being an independent again.
Okay then, thank you, Nick, for your time. Let's bring out our next guest. He is a trade representative from London. Please welcome Thomas Szymanski. How are you doing today, Thomas?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on the show, Brett.
It is an honor for you to be with us, especially because last Wednesday, a major terrorist attack occurred near the Parliament building in the United Kingdom. Although it was not a Scot who committed the crime, this will certainly be a hotly debated topic in terms of border security. How would Scotland leaving affect the border security procedures of the newly formed country?
Well, if Scotland succeeded in their independence from the UK, it would take a chunk of our military with them. Our Ministry of Defense is so concerned about what Scotland would do to the military. It has simply refused to do anything on this important matter. Also, Britain's military position in Europe would be weakened because Britain would also have to abandon its role as a global power due to the greatest danger the country's military poses should Scotland succeed. If Scotland is successful in their independence to leave the UK, then it would be Britain's greatest nightmare on their national security issues.
What do you see as the main reason why the United Kingdom wants to keep control of Scotland?
Britain wants to keep control of Scotland because because if Scotland gains their independence, then Britain would no longer have the ability to house the Trident submarines, and they would lose its nuclear deterrent. Also, Scotland's independence would force the UK into abandon its nuclear technology for 20 years.
How exactly has Britain leaving the EU affected a second vote on Scottish independence?
It is most likely for Scotland to hold another referendum for their independence. This is because most of the UK voted to leave the EU, while 62% of Scotland voted to stay. Scotland has agreed to the UK that it will stay a part of the UK if Britain stays in the European Union. Now that is no longer the case. Scotland will most likely gain their independence from the United Kingdom and petition to rejoin the EU.
The common prime currency unit in the EU is the euro. How would Scotland deciding to leave and potentially rejoin the EU cause financial problems for Britain?
Well, Brexit could make it more of a challenge for Scotland to gain their independence from the United Kingdom because of problems such as trade, the pound, and the European Union. Scotland had a desire to try to join the European Union on its own account. It could lose the UK's opt-out from joining the euro currency. As a result, most trade markets in Britain will remain one of the main concerns of the Scottish economy. According to the economic figures released in January, Scotland's non-oil and gas exports to the EU member states other than Britain were $11.6 billion for 2014, an 8-cent per decline over the last year.
Fox News and myself would like to thank Thomas Szymanski and Nick Corlew for joining us today. Thanks once again, Thomas.
Great to be here, Brett.
Okay, that wraps up Special Report for tonight. Once again, I'm Brett Baer. The first 100 Days with Martha McCallum is next. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.